Hi, my name is Mia. Welcome to Scrubs and Savings. I'm a 21-year-old nursing student documenting my personal and financial journey here on YouTube. And today we are going to be budgeting my third paycheck of May, as well as diving deeper into my budgeting process. So with these videos, I normally just show you guys the money that I receive from each paycheck, budget it out, and show you my expenses from the previous week. However, this time, again, I want to dive deeper into my budgeting process and mindset. So I use the budgeting software YNAB Budget to budget out all of my money, and they provide users a method on how to budget, which has honestly changed the game for me financially. So the main principle of their budgeting method is to give every dollar a job, which basically means looking at all of the money that you have in your bank accounts and assigning it to your categories. And you can only budget the money that you currently have. And I think it just gives so much clarity and forces people to look at the reality of their situation, good or bad, and go from there. So for me, what this looks like is I have all of my bank accounts in YNAB, and every single dollar that is in my bank account is accounted for in my budget. So then, every single time I get paid, I come onto YouTube and budget out or assign all of my dollars a job. So then YNAB wants users to ask themselves 5 questions while they are budgeting their money, and I'm going to show you guys how I do that. So I have $885.14 to budget, and I currently work as a nurse intern at a hospital, and I work about 1 to 2 shifts per week. And so with my paycheck from Friday, I worked 47.8 hours during the pay period, and I get paid $20.23 without including my shift differentials. And then I got paid, then I received $100 from my uncle for my college graduation, and then from my high yield savings account, I received $9.01 in interest, and actually from Google, I received 15 cents while figuring out how I'm going to get paid because I've become a YouTube partner. So I'm not officially part of the AdSense program, but I'm at the first tier of the partner program. So the method involves 5 questions, and the first question that I need to ask myself with this money is, what does this money need to do before I get paid again? So I have 2 jobs, and they both pay on a biweekly pay cycle, but they are on alternating weeks. So I get paid every week. So I have to ask myself, what do I need to pay for before my next payday? And that is actually nothing. Using the YNAB method, I have become 1 month ahead on my expenses. So everything that I am spending, saving, investing for the month of May came from April's income, except for one little rule that I gave myself for 2025, but we'll get into that. So I don't need to assign anything yet. The second question is, what larger, less frequent spending do I need to prepare for? And YNAB calls these true expenses. So it's things like carb maintenance, annual subscriptions, Christmas, anything financially that you know is going to happen, but you don't really think about on a monthly basis. So for me, I live with my parents and they cover all of my needs, and the only true expenses I need to save for are my annual subscriptions, fees and one thing that I tend to avoid funding, but I need to. So for my true expenses, I have my YNAB subscription funded as well as my gym maintenance funded. But the one thing I just avoid actually funding is my shoes for work. My job requires a lot of walking, and they recommend nurses to replace their work shoes every 6 months, and I just need to save up money for them. So I'm actually going to set aside $15 for work shoes, which I've never done before, but I'm going to be happy in November knowing that I can spend that money guilt-free. So that's the only true expense that I have to fund for the month of May. The third question is, what can I set aside for next month's spending? So this is the question that helps YNAB users get a month ahead. So again, May is fully funded, so I'm just going to skip over to June, which is already partially funded. So even though I'm a month ahead, I still enjoy budgeting in the order that my bills come out in. So the last bill I need to fund is my extra car loan payment, which I'm trying to pay off by July. So I put $860 towards my car loan every month. So I need to add $500 more to have that ready to go for the month of June. Then, with my true expenses, I set aside money for them monthly, and I just treat it like a bill because that's what it is and I know it's coming out. So I am going to fund YNAB and gym maintenance, and then I get to fund my fun categories for next month. So that is $65 for gifts, $20 for dining out, $15 for activities. I'm actually going to skip yoga for now, $20 for hobbies, $35 for beauty, and $30 for date night. And then with the whole yoga situation, I'm currently trying to figure out what studio I want to start going to. I used to go to free yoga classes provided by my school, but since I graduated, I don't have access anymore. So I want to try out a few yoga studios in the area to see which ones are a better fit before I commit to spending a few $100 on class packs and stuff like that. So I'm already scheduled for a few yoga classes at this studio, and honestly, if I like it, I'm just going to stick to it because it's pretty close by, and I've been to one of their events before and I really enjoyed it. So hopefully I can just stick to one, but if not, oh well. So that's it for my June expenses. So we are going to head back on over to May. And the fourth question is, what goals, large or small, do I want to prioritize? And my main goal currently is to fully fund my emergency fund before I move out in April of 2026. And I have already saved $5,490 this month. And I made a rule for myself this year on how I want to fund this category, and which is to fund all of the money that I receive outside of my paychecks towards my emergency fund. So, for example, I'm going to add $100 from my uncle's graduation gift and the $9.01 from my high yield savings account interest. And then I have $62.88 ready to assign, and I actually might set aside the 15 cents from Google because they're probably going to take that money back, and I'll just put that in my hobbies category because I consider YouTube to be a hobby. And then I actually want to put 99 cents more into my emergency fund because I enjoy having nice pretty numbers in my savings. So now we're at a gorgeous, beautiful, and wonderful $7,650 in my emergency fund. And now with the $61.74, I'm going to go back into June and set aside $50. For some reason, I like to fund Christmas first. That's just the way I've been doing it, and I'll continue to do it that way. So I'll assign $50 to Christmas, and I think I have cash overspending in May that I need to cover. So $2.50. All of the negative stuff in reimbursements is from my trip to Tennessee with my boyfriend, and we are splitting our expenses and like figuring out how to settle up on those currently. So all of my overspending will be covered soon. And with this $9.24, I actually need to remove the $50 and set aside the $15 for shoes for next month, and then do $40 towards Christmas. I'm trying to be kinder to myself about purchasing things that I want, and since I enjoy having nice, pretty, even numbers in my savings, I'm just going to leave the $40 at that for right now, and I'm going to allow myself to set aside $4.24 for my wish to purchase the DJI Osmo Pocket 3 camera and creator combo. I had to adjust the camera because my feet are tingly because I made the silly mistake of sitting on my feet while filming, but the last question in the method is what changes do I need to make, if any, and I normally make changes if there's like a bigger thing coming up or if I have plans that I need to move money for, but nothing like that is happening for the month of June and nothing new has come up for the month of May. So all of my money is assigned and I am done budgeting this paycheck, but I want to show you guys my expenses from the past week and a half or so. So far this month I have spent $535.37. So I've spent the most money on my treat people with kindness category, and that's my normal giving. And then I bought Nick Tigers tickets for his birthday, and we are going to go in a couple of weeks. And then, of course, because I traveled, I have a good amount of travel spending. It's currently showing $238.17, but I will adjust that amount to be a more accurate reflection of how much I actually spent on our trip, because currently I've split down all of the spending that I have on my card for our expenses, but I haven't put down all of the expenses that Nick has paid for. But in total we spent about a little less than $800 on our trip, and I'll dive deeper into that spending in my June monthly reset. And then for my administrative category, I spent $31.71, which I did not mean to spend. I wasn't planning on spending, but I accidentally signed up for the REI membership without knowing that you had to pay for it, and it's $30, and with Tennessee's sales tax it came out to $31.71, but they did give me a $30 gift card to REI, so I guess that offsets that spending, but it's still something I didn't plan for, which is fine. The money is already gone. And then for Joyful Life, I have spent $15 for an outdoor yoga class, and then for my category for Nick and I've spent $12.06 on something that we've shared together. That's it for this budgeting payday routine video. I hope you guys enjoyed the deeper dive into my budgeting process and how I actually budget and why I budget in that way. But thank you for watching this video all the way through. If you did, make sure to like and subscribe, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. Bye guys.